All right, hello everybody, welcome.
Greetings!
Hi. I hit my microphone. I freaked out.
I seen it.
You freaked out because you're so excited about Survivor!
Yeah!
Well, it has been 2 weeks. I mean, it's
Right.
been a long time. We got a lot of it built up on our chest we get to talk about now.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't even...
exciting episodes.
What?
Very exciting episodes.
Was it episode 9?
I don't count them. They just kind of blur into the next week.
I'm
Yeah,
actually
the
trying to
episode
remember what
numbers.
happened in the one before that we actually talked about. Who got voted out in the very last one we talked about?
Oh, hold on. I'll pull up the drive of the
It was
document.
Haley, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Was
Haley
it?
got voted out and was member number 1 of the jury.
Is that right?
Correct.
It is
Haley is now
correct.
member 1 of the jury,
Yeah.
and we now are entering episode number whatever. Episode Jen is sad.
Jen is sad.
Yep. That's right. That's right. That's right. All comes back to me now. Yes.
Because right after Tribal, she is done and sad, and she just feels done. I'm like, oh, come on. You lose one member of your alliance, and you're giving up already. Like, what do you think's going to happen on Survivor? People going to vote out your power couple.
And-
friends.
Jen seems all over the place. Like, she seems like she's great at the game some minutes, and then she's like really an idiot some minutes, and then she doesn't know what she wants. I don't know. I'm not a fan of Jen anymore.
Yeah,
personally.
she is very wishy-washy, and anybody who makes it to the merge, even granted the merge was pretty early in this, particular season, but you made it to the merge. The jury's being selected. This is not the time you ever talk about quitting. Honestly, what does quitting ever get you?
Often.
I mean, especially on the jury. You're still on the jury. You're still there. You're still around. You're still part of the game. Like, wouldn't you rather play it?
Right.
Well, you do get alcohol and food, I imagine.
Yeah, you get
That is true.
Ponderosa.
That is true. And I did watch some of the Ponderosa stuff, which is kind of cool. It's a nice place.
I only watched the Haley video, so I haven't watched the latest 2 Castaways.
But yeah, she's definitely all over the place. And
What's one of my funniest things that we didn't get to talk about since we missed this episode was that in the episode before this one, Dan was just basically shitting all over Sharon, like, you don't know the numbers! You don't know the numbers! She's like, I know the numbers! And then the first thing she says in this episode was, I'm still feeling the wrong side of the numbers.
Yeah, but so her plan is she wants the blue collar to fracture. That's how her plan is to get the numbers. We must fracture the blue collar. And meanwhile, Rodney is just like, I'm just gonna wait to do my big move. And I'm like, oh my god, I don't know if Rodney's smart at this game or not, because now he's just like, he's just waiting. He knows he has to do big moves to win the game, but he's waiting.
I just loved his line of, I don't need more friends, I just need more zeros in my bank account.
Yep.
So he probably has a few zeros in his bank account. There's just nothing before them. That's the big
Yeah.
problem. Some zeros in the bank account. I don't get Rodney. Well, it's not that I don't get Rodney. I don't get other people and how they deal with Rodney. Nobody's ever targeting him.
I
Yeah.
think he's kind of faded in the background. He used to be a big jerk face, and he got in a couple arguments, but now I think they've learned that he's just a dog with more bark than bite, and so they just don't care about him.
Just kind of ignore him.
Yeah.
I mean, the way he talks to the camera and stuff, you would assume he does the same thing. I mean, you see it somewhere out camp where he's saying really stupid things, and people are just kind of like, oh yeah, there's the fucking the village idiot, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
I have no idea how you would deal with Rodney.
So that was pretty much what happened at camp right after that thing. The next morning, Sharon goes to Mike, and Mike asks who she would get rid of, and the answer was
Carolyn.
Carolyn. Yep. And then that makes Mike realize that they have a subgroup basically within their own alliance, and let's see, Sharon trying to get through the next vote, but she doesn't want to be in the driver's seat. Yeah.
Yeah, Shireen doesn't want to be in the driver's seat. She wants to be in the passenger seat, back seat driving.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
she wants to choose the direction, but not actually hold the wheel.
That's a very, very, very smart play if you can deliver. Just to say that that's what you're going to do. Like, I'm also going to go on Survivor, and I'm going to be the leader. Nobody's going to know I'm the leader, though, and therefore I'm going to win at the end. That'll be my strategy.
Yeah. The thing is, you have to convince the tribal or the jury at the end that you were actually the leader. You know, like, oh no, really, I'm the one making all the decisions.
Yeah, don't worry. My strategy also involves convincing them that I'm better than the other player, and I will win.
Okay.
So
that's all locked down.
Yeah, it's all locked down, obviously, because it's so easy. Like, once I have that in my mind, there's
I'm
no
not
way it
only
can
in
go
the
wrong.
passenger seat, back seat driving. I'm also the road to the victory.
You can't lose when you're the road.
No.
Shireen should aim to be the road, not driving at all.
So they go off to the reward challenge. It's a water challenge. Teams of 5, which is a schoolyard pick that they don't show us
Again,
again.
and that's what I made note of as well. Again, another schoolyard pick that they didn't show what happened. And
I mean, it's a drama-based show. We should be seeing the drama, right? Like, what the fuck?
well, so the problem with it might be is it is a drama-based show, but it's all scripted drama, and a schoolyard pick is completely random. So they can't anticipate that. So they're like, we won't show that. We'll only show the stuff we told them to say.
Right. Probably right.
And remember, this reward challenge is sponsored by M&M's.
Yes, it is very sponsored. I mean, but they have several of those. I got a lot of tweets of people saying, "I can't believe all the product placement," but that happens at least one episode.
I'm glad. I'm glad. It's actually like it brings me back to the days of Survivor Old when they had these. Like they haven't had these type of product placements actually in a couple seasons, and I think it's actually a good thing for Survivor. That means they're getting money again.
You guys
Right,
can get your
right.
messages on your Sprint phone.
Yeah. What happened to those? So the challenge, the reward is M&Ms of all types, Twix bars. Basically, it was a Mars sponsored challenge. The teams that we got through our schoolyard picks was blue and red. Blue is Mike, Tyler, Sheeran, Dan, and Sierra. Red is Rodney, Joe, Jen, Carolyn, and Will. Yeah. So I don't remember what they had to do. They had to go through some obstacles to a platform. Once there, they have to retrieve some rings with a grappling hook, and that's it. Right? They don't have to throw the rings. Right.
I so want to know how these. Oh, I wish I had seen the pick because I don't get the teams are relatively evenly matched.
Well,
Was that because of good
we wrote down
strategy?
the order that Jeff said them, and I would almost feel like that's like you got to feel like Dan. It came down to Dan and Sierra. I'm sorry, Dan and Will as the last two, right? Like Will had to be. No one picked Will. You know
Wait,
what I'm
who's
saying?
Sierra? Who's Sierra?
The tall blonde.
I
Yeah.
still don't know who Sierra is, but okay, let's continue.
I have that problem when watching the show too. There's like it's like what's her name, and then always ends up being Sierra. Yeah. See, that's the order that Jeff said their names. I don't know if that's the order they were picked in or not. That's all you have to go on is what order Jeff says their names. But to me, it feels like Dan and Will would be the last two you pick. Though Dan did do well in the last water challenge. After he said he didn't want to sit out, if they actually remembered that.
And Sierra's name was the last name on the
Right.
blue team, which you'd think she looks like an athletic person who could do water challenges. I don't know.
Yeah, we have no idea how they're picked. So they go.
This is some of the funniest challenge I've ever seen. Like
When
they
Will
were
fell down,
struggling with this thing.
so when Will fell down, they put in the Wilhelm scream. Did you catch that?
No,
I did not.
There was the Wilhelm scream. They edited that in. It was
I just know that
enjoyable.
back to back, it was Dan and Will just like flopping like walruses down this ramp.
And Jeff's comment on that was, "Yeah, and Will not graceful at all." He goes, the guy looks at it, he's like awkward or something like that. He says the word awkward. Jeff's such an ass.
Yeah, thanks, Prope.
I liked how like there was part of it that was a net thing, and like half of them were like it was like a net crawl, is how Jeff had described it. But whenever Tyler and Carolyn got there, they became Jesus, and they just like ran across it. They didn't crawl at all. They just they were so I like
Became
that.
Jesus.
But then Carolyn ends up falling twice on the balance beam, so that kind of ruined her team and brought them behind. Then it's Sheeran versus Jen. Jen slows her team way down, running off the net. Running on the net was definitely the best choice because that's the same thing that Jen does as well. Then it's Joe versus Sierra. Joe jumps off the ramp. Like he doesn't even go. He doesn't slide down the ramp. He just like jumps from the top over the whole thing,
probably
which looks
the
very
smartest way to do
scary.
it.
Like, you could like catch your ankle on as you're coming down, or I don't know. I don't know. It was scary. And then they go back and forth with who has the lead because they both finally get up on the thing. And they're like throwing the grappling hook, trying to get the things, and Blue wins, which is Mike, Tyler, Sheeran, Dan, and Sierra.
And Jen is sad. She is boo-hoo, and Joe tells her to shut up.
So, what do you think about the reward? Candy is good.
You'd get so sick.
That's
like
what I would think.
Like it's like you want to take the Twix bars and only eat the like not all the chocolate and all the caramel, but just like the cracker and like the substance. You need the substance, but not all the sugar.
I mean, I even think if I go to when I used to go to like an all-you-can-eat buffet that has that little ice cream bar in the back, like, you know, the Ponderosa, not the Survivor Ponderosa, but, you know, the restaurant Ponderosa, and I'd get an ice cream at the end of my meal, and I'd make it too big because my eyes are bigger than my stomach at that point, and even just, it's just a bowl of ice cream, it's like this big, it's not even like it's huge, and at the end I'm like, I feel so sick because there's just so much sweet stuff sitting in my stomach, whereas these people are like 8 and 10 chocolate bars in their mouth at a time.
Well, I think that there's 2 days, like there's this is reward day, and then there's gonna be a dud day, and then there's immunity tribal council. So I think that maybe if they had an extra, if they knew they had a day before immunity, they probably were like, oh man, we'll just eat rice tomorrow. We'll get our stomach better tomorrow.
I just feel like I would puke. I would puke like after that. I don't know. That's the same thought went through my mind. Was like, that's way too much sweet stuff. I couldn't do it. But
and all the M&Ms, isn't it interesting to see them all separated by
color?
color?
Yeah, by color. Yeah.
I was very pleased with that. I was like, thank you, Mars. You've done a good thing today.
There wasn't anything hidden there, was there?
So I was going to bring that up. I don't know if there was nothing hidden there or if they just didn't show it because
They
We already
didn't
have
find it.
that.
See, and the thing, I would be very upset if there wasn't truly a clue hidden there, because I remember some of the seasons with like Boston Rob before, where he actually made sure he'd already found the idol, and he went to a reward challenge and still made sure he found the clue first, so he could hide it from others, so that they wouldn't find out that it was already like gone.
Well,
Yeah.
Mike isn't at this reward.
Mike is
Yeah,
in
no.
this reward.
Wait, no, he is. I'm sorry.
But either way, other people, nobody knows Mike has this thing. They think Joe has it still, quote unquote, because Mike made that big scene to say, "Oh, Joe, you found it. Yeah, you found that, that idol." But in reality, other people could still think that Joe really doesn't have it. Maybe there's a reward. Maybe they'll find it and send him on a wild goose chase. I think that would make things entertaining, but not even showing it.
Yeah. So then we come back to camp. They're still at the reward challenge, but they're back at camp, and the first word said by Joe and Rodney is, "We're eating fried chicken tonight." And I was like, "Oh, did they decide that before the challenge or what?" Because it never comes back up. They cook this chicken, and the 5 losers eat this chicken, and then the other people come back to camp, and they don't mention that, hey, well, the chicken's gone. Like, what's the deal with this chicken?
So, and did you also notice the pen? It was 2 hens in the pen.
Oh, was there?
Yep. So it
They
means
killed the rooster this time.
So, no, I think they only had 2 chickens left, and they killed one of them, and they were both hens that were in there, which means I think then the last time our prediction was correct in that they used previous footage that showed the rooster still in the pen. So maybe they weren't as dumb as we thought they were, and the first one they
Right.
killed was the rooster.
But honestly, would you rather have a whole chicken or some Snickers bars? I feel like the
Whole
losers
chicken.
kind of came in on top here. I want a bunch of protein versus a bunch of candy.
Yeah, I didn't even think about the fact that that didn't get brought up again when
Man,
they came back from challenge.
Just make the reward
the
barbecue sauce, and we'll be good, man.
No shit, yeah. They go back home with your chicken and your barbecue sauce. Got telephone.
It's like, give me another chicken. Hello?
Hi.
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 Sorry. No, Jen had a comment after the challenge that I really loved. She says, "None of this is fun."
Yeah.
I don't think she understands.
She thought the chickens were her friends. The only friends she had left. Now the damn tribe is murdering and eating them in front of her.
I don't know why she thinks Survivor's fun. I mean, it's a game, but it's not like Monopoly or Clue.
See, I think I'd have fun with it. I think I'd have way too much fun with
Oh
it.
yeah, I
you
think
can
it would
have
be
fun.
a blast. I
But-
mean, it would be hard, but it would be a blast.
Right.
I don't know. I just love to have. Like, they didn't even ask me. They just took my chickens and ran off.
Well, when she says that she's the only one who takes care of them, what do they need?
Yeah. I mean, I think in her mind, she's giving them emotional care. You know what I mean? Like, I
keeping
talk
those
to them
chickens
when no one else
emotionally
does.
strong.
Yeah. She's their psychologist. Just keeping their brain happy. Yeah, her exact quote was, "I've got nothing out here except for despair." And so then I think Rodney actually did a good job here. He started just doing impersonations of everyone,
Which were
and it made
hilarious.
people think, and it made people think that he wasn't necessarily in any type of alliance with those people. So I think that worked out pretty good in his favor.
And it was a good impression too of Mike. Like,
Yeah.
I was really surprised. Like, why is the show suddenly starting to like Rodney? Like they made us hate him before. Now he's making even Jen laugh.
Yeah.
Jen is laughing at Rodney. what kind of game is this now? You
And,
know?
and I don't know, MC. He might do a better impression of Dan than you do as well. You do a pretty good
I don't
one.
disagree.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. But meanwhile, Joe, as he sees all of this, he's like, I kind of want to take advantage of this hatred of Mike that Rodney has. I like this though. This is the start of Rodney or Joe's big plan.
See, and I think Joe is more of the mindset that Guude and I have talking about this. Jen like hates her life and just somehow wants to get through the game. Joe, no matter what happens, I think he knows he's playing a game and is having fun with it no matter what there is to it. Like he's just kind of like, oh, I'll take this opportunity and look and realize, hey, there's some cracks I could deal with here because this is a game. I'm having fun. Let's do this.
So then eventually everyone comes back to camp, and Joe's talking about how he's expecting to go 4-0 in the immunity challenge. And Jen tells Joe that if it's down to them two, that he should let her win because she'll give him the necklace. And I don't understand how this ever works in Survivor. Like, why would you...
Because she wants to go away.
Yeah, like, I want you to throw the challenge so I can win, but I'm going to let you have the necklace.
Well, no, she didn't tell him that if it came down to them two that he should step down. She said that if he doesn't win but she does, she's going to give it to him.
No. He said, you should let me win. And he says, no, I'm not going to do that, though. He actually tells her, no, I want to win.
Really?
Yeah. She asked him to step down if it came down to them two, and that she would give him the necklace. Because, she's like, I just want to leave. I'd like to win one before I leave or whatever. And he's like, no, I want to win too. So if I win, great. If not, you can still give me the necklace. But and she's like, okay, that's what we'll do. Is basically what it came down to. So anyway, Joe doesn't trust it, but he does say that maybe, this will double his chances to win. To which point I was like, I don't think her being in the running doubles your chances, but I was wrong because she ends up performing pretty well in this thing. So we go on to the immunity, which is standing on a beam with the block above your head. The block touching the beam ahead. No hands can be used. You drop the block and you're out.
Now, I would like to mention the location of this immunity challenge was great. It wasn't a beach. It was like in the woods. It was beautiful. I loved it. Why don't we ever go here? It reminded me of Gabon when they had the giant fields and everything. Like, I like differing locations for these challenges, and it shows off more nature than just beach and ocean, Yeah,
I agree. Some variety.
They should do that more. Can we just go back to Gabon? That was a good place.
I want another season where there's not an ocean, honestly. I'd like to have I know that's...
Africa?
Like China, Africa.
Or whatever. This season, where they survive the Ebola virus. Anyways, so I'll just run through this really quickly as far as what happened. Joe's struggling early, but he refocuses. Carolyn's quickly out, then Will's out, then Sharon's next. Joe has a lot of block movement, but he ends up staying up. Rodney's out after just a little bit of movement. Dan's out next, and he has a bit of a tantrum, and he's asked to sit his ass down so it doesn't screw. Why were they all on the same platform? That's what like Jeff at the whole start's like, all right, whenever you get out, everybody sit down because there's other people and you'll be bouncing the platform. Why didn't you each have your own damn platform? Anyways, Joe's only slightly touched the block to his head, and I mentioned to Crystal that like he has like a bun in his hair. I was wondering if that was helping him kind of keep it up there to some degree. Anyways, Sierra's out next, then Joe. Jeff calls out that Joe's streak is over and that he's vulnerable. Thanks, Jeff. Tyler gets shaky. Jen's still solid. Mike wobbles out. They're 30 minutes in at this point. A gnat keeps messing with Tyler's face. Jen can't keep it up. Tyler wins.
Congratulations, Tyler.
Good work, Tyler.
It kind of ruins our idea of a possible necklace giving, but whatever, Tyler. Be happy. You ruined the show, but thanks, Tyler.
See if she would actually give the necklace, because I didn't believe it for any second she would.
I actually think she would have.
Think so?
Yeah,
I think she was so done.
I think she would have as well.
Okay.
But we get back to camp.
Anyone's going to actually give the necklace once they have it. I feel like it's easy to say you'll do it before you get it, but once you have it, it's like this power thing, and you're like, I don't want to give it away. But
no, the thing is, every time I've seen people talk about giving a necklace up or whatever, they make it way too well known, way too early. Like, if she actually had won, the way I feel you give up a necklace is right before you go to vote.
Yeah.
And then you're like, at this point, oh, Jeff, here, I'm giving my necklace over to theirs. Just so it throws off the other team so they don't necessarily know to get on the same page. And I have a feeling that she would have been like, woo, I won! Give it to Joe right here and now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so uncommon for the necklace to give away. They got rid of the prompt in the script that Jeff said where He was like,
He's like, I'm
if
assuming
any-
you're keeping it. You know.
I assume you're keeping it. Yes, I am. They just got rid of that. They're like, nobody's ever going to give that up. But
Yeah.
Jen, she wants to go home. In fact, when they get back to camp, that's her mission. It's simple. Get herself voted out, save Joe. That's Jen's job. And Shireen has the master plan. She has the numbers loophole.
I like how
She votes for
Sharon
Jen.
says, I'm always running the numbers, and I've figured out the numbers loophole. This is the person last episode, they couldn't do the math, and then this episode admits, you know what, I don't know the numbers. But now she's been constantly running them.
The number loophole is here, and Mike will never suspect it, except he knows about the numbers loophole.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like I got all hyped when she's like, I have a loophole, and I'm like, oh my god, how did she do this? And then Mike's like, yo, I know, I can't do his voice. I know, get Rodney on the show, please. Just fire me.
I know. He's got like a raspy twist. Anyways.
I know. I can't even do it.
I like how Sharon also said that they're going to rock the vote. It's like, man, did we go back to the 90s here? Remember rock the vote?
It's actually like they're moving Survivor over to MTV as well.
Joe tells Sharon, though, that he has an idol and that he's going to be playing it, too. So after everything that you were just talking about, Joe runs off into the woods to his stash of items that he decides that he's been keeping to make an idol with. It actually looks pretty good. He makes him an idol. And
it's amazing. It would make the past survivors proud that have made like fake idols.
Do you remember the first fake idol? I don't even know if it was the first one, but literally the dude took like a stick and carved a little face into it.
Yeah.
He like wrapped it up, and he's like, here we go. And I believe Sugar, whatever episode season it was Sugar on it, and she's the one who tried to play it. She's like, Jeff, is this an idol? And he's like, yeah, no.
I don't think it was the Sugar season, but it was around then.
So Mike is worried about Joe finding that he has an idol.
Where does Mike... This threw me off so bad because the main person who was concerned with Joe having an idol was Mike, even though everybody else thought Joe had an idol because Mike made it seem like that, and then Mike has the idol that Joe was supposedly out looking for. But Mike thinks he has a previous idol?
No, because he's worried he's out looking for an idol. He runs off to find him. I don't know, man. I'm wondering. That wasn't clear to me either. Does he think he has a previous idol? He's going out picking it up, or does he think he's looking for another idol? I wasn't clear on that.
I think the idea that there's multiple idols is still in his brain because we don't know. We still don't know about Carolyn. Carolyn still has her idol.
Well, and there was still one of the tribes still has an idol that never got found that they've shown, like one of the original 3 tribes. There's an idol out there somewhere, and I think that's the idol he was referring to, but man, he made some crazy conclusion jumps and leaps and bounds to just be like, oh, Joe obviously is looking for this idol that wasn't even on his beach in the first place, like, because they know Jen's got the idol because she played it already, so they know that she had the idol from the tribe he was originally on. He would have had to like struck it rich in order to find a random idol that was, I don't know, it was so weird to me.
But so Joe's plan is he tells Mike, hey, I will give you my idol if you keep me safe tonight. Which I would like to say is a really crap plan because you could just play your idol tonight if it was real and save yourself.
Yeah, that plan never works.
Well,
like
it doesn't make any sense. I'm going to give you my idol to keep me safe. No, you play your idol to keep you safe. That's how idols work.
Yeah, well, I think so. If you truly were to be like, hey, look, I have a hidden immunity idol. If you get me through tonight's vote, I will give you my hidden immunity idol, and it'll build us trust, and now I have a little alliance that I can go with. I can see a little bit of strategy to that.
It's dumb.
I agree it's dumb, but if you play your idol, it's gone, and you're vulnerable in the next one, whereas if you get a trust with somebody else that you might be able to shift some numbers behind the scenes, maybe a good strategy. The only problem is Mike's like, Joe says, I'll give you the idol after tribal. And he says, no, give it to me before. And Joe's like, no, why would I ever give you my idol beforehand? Because that is dumb, which is absolutely dumb. But that was Mike was like, nope, you better give it to me beforehand. And it was like...
Well, there's only one way to find out if it's real or not.
That's true.
Which I didn't know that until that was new knowledge, I guess. So
they go to tribal.
Yeah, so they go to tribal, and Joe apparently had handed over his fake idol to Mike, and... as they're getting settled in, like as they're sitting down, you can see him hand it over or whatever. So Jeff asked Jen why she was holding on so long for the immunity challenge, and she acted like she wanted to leave. And Jen goes on and on about liking and not liking and everything. Jen tells everyone how that if she had won, she would have given the idol to Joe. Jeff asks why she doesn't just walk out now, and Jen won't because that's quitting. She makes no sense to me.
She wants to quit, but she doesn't want to quit.
Right. Shin would rather Jen stay, but she understands she wanted her to quit, whatever. So then this is where Mike asks Jeff about Joe's idol. And Jeff says that he cannot verify an idol until it's actually played.
Thank God, because I would have been...
That's a good precedent right there.
I would have been a little bit upset if he was like, nope.
Yeah. So they vote. And whenever it came time for play the community idol, Mike plays the fake idol. And
On
Jeff
Will.
says, oh, yeah, I forgot about that part, because he had the No, he didn't have the necklace. Yeah, that's right. He did play it on Will, didn't he?
He screwed it over either way.
Yeah.
He screwed Joe over either way. That was
And yeah, that's the thing.
that's such a slap to the face there.
That's a huge slap to the face because if you don't know, Mike voted for Joe and then played the immunity idol for somebody else. Whereas if he was like, if this is real and I'm going to keep my word, I'll just play it for you, Joe, and then that'll know if I have your allegiance or not, and your votes will be...
skeevy.
Yeah.
Mike is skeevy. He thinks he's a really upstanding individual, but he's skeevy.
But-
More on that later.
But nobody cares. Nobody seems to have been like, well, Mike, you obviously weren't going to be a man of your word. They're just like, yeah, damn straight, Mike. Yep, that's the way it is. And it's kind of like, man, everybody just is.
Yeah. Yep.
Joe's voted out.
Yeah, pretty much. So Dan, Sierra, Mike, Sharon, and Ronnie all vote Joe. Joe, Carolyn, Tyler, and Will all vote Jen. And Dan votes for Jen. Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. Jen votes for Dan. Yeah, I'm sorry. Because Jen couldn't vote for herself, so she voted for Dan. Because she wasn't going to vote for Joe. So that was the votes. And then Jeff says, basic survivor strategies. Take out any threat you can. If you're perceived as a threat, you better watch out. And then on the next time, Will blows up in Sharon. And Mike says Rodney's a flipper. And Rodney flips out.
And Rodney flips after being called up.
So-
Flipper.
Joe's been voted out, but I think he did earn him spot on a future season.
Yeah, I
Oh,
can see
yeah.
that. I can see him coming back for sure.
I think he got voted out at just the perfect time to guarantee another season for him.
Yeah.
He's probably going to be one of those people that comes back just like Malcolm did, like on the very next season.
Yeah.
You know what? It's actually they've been discussions about returning castaways for some upcoming seasons. I think it's season 31 or 32, or I don't know what season we're on now. We're on 30, right?
Yeah,
I don't
this
know.
is 30.
Yeah, I think 32 is supposed to be returning castaways or something. So we'll probably see him then.
So yeah,
All right.
that was a lot of good craziness and somebody trying to verify an idol with Jeff and stuff that I'd never seen that before. So that was kind of entertaining to see, but I'm sad to see Joe go. I thought he was going to be a fierce competitor.
Yeah, I like Joe. But
Everybody wanted Joe to win. That's why he had to go.
yeah, pretty much. So that was the end of that episode. We come into last week's episode, the one that aired on the 22nd of this month. And in my opinion, this is the best episode of the season so far.
Oh, yeah. This is an
See-
exciting Survivor episode.
I am so glad because I felt the same way. And then I was just talking to a buddy of mine randomly. He's like, Jeff, I know you watch Survivor, right? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, that last episode made me sick to my stomach. I don't even want to watch the show anymore. And I was like, dude, I thought it was amazing.
Yeah,
What made him sick?
Just the way everybody treats each other, he was so sickened by it, and I was just like, but I think that's what makes the show entertaining.
I mean, it was horrible. There were some horrible things that happened in this episode we're going to talk about soon. But I want to say that despite that, I think that everything that meshed together, just like the changes that they put into Survivor in this episode, single-handedly made it like the best episode in years, even for me.
It was a good one.
It was
All right, so here we go. It starts out, we have no intro. Right at the start, they're on the beach. Rodney's saying he has a solid plan to get Mike out after the muni. He'll never know what's coming. Meanwhile, Mike's in the bushes listening to it all.
Meanwhile, Mike's like 3 feet away going,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Tony's watching at home going like, I didn't even have to build a spy shack.
Yeah.
What's this guy
All a
doing?
waste of time building my spy shack. I could have just stood 2 feet behind him.
Yeah. Mike could have just walked up into the circle at this point and be like, yeah.
And that's the thing.
Just get me out.
So
Put a leaf on his head. They'll never see him.
It was so bad because it's not even that Mike just happened to be there, like that they were like, man, we didn't hear Mike sneak. Mike's got his own camera crew with him too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it was so bad.
So we go from there right to the Survivor auction. And
Which
the
is
first thing...
crazy.
First thing I said to Crystal was that I'm excited they brought it back, because I was hoping they would fix it. And I said, I hope that the first item is uncovered and it is the reward. I was hoping they would start with the reward, that way it was out of the way, and I thought that's what they did, because the first thing was uncovered. Mike bids what? Or I'm sorry, Will bids $100 for the covered item. He's the only, and he gets it. It's a rolled up note, and I'm like, yes, they did it. They gave him the thing.
Yeah, that
first, it's out of the way. Because I hate how everyone holds their money. It pisses me off.
Yep.
And so I'm like, yes, they find it. So he unrolls his note, and it says, you've bought yourself out of the auction. Get the fuck out.
See,
so he has to leave.
At this moment, I still thought what you said was true. I was like, he's going back to the beach, and there's like a clue that's going to be waiting for him that's going to guide him to the advantage. Or
right, that's what I said. Yep, that's what I said too. I was like, yep, he's still getting it. You just wait. And Crystal was like, no, he's gone. So anyways, let's forget about him for right now. Next up.
Will's not part of our game for right now. We'll talk about it later.
Next up is Chicken and Waffles. Sharon, $300. She wins it. She says she doesn't care about the advantage. Then that's whenever she says that's when Jeff says, so who here just cares about the advantage? Who wants the advantage? And then Dan, Carol, and Mike all say that that's what they're here for. They want the advantage. So with this knowledge, we move on. And the bidding's pretty low from this point forward because they know they're not competing with Dan, Carol, and
Everybody
Mike.
buys food. There's a food buying montage. They don't even care anymore.
I hated that so much because all I saw were people sitting there. Nobody bought garbage. Nobody bought a bowl full of earwigs. It was just, look, everybody's eating steaks and beers and margaritas. And I was just like, this is not like a reward challenge at all. This is just, here's your freaking food unless you want to hold out for this last thing.
Yeah.
Because I was very disappointed with this.
Right. Well, that's why I was hoping they got the advantage out first. And maybe I think they'll do that next time. Maybe now that they've set a precedent for you might get voted out right at the start type of thing, maybe next time it'll be a covered item and it'll be the advantage. Anyways, we can hope.
Well, it doesn't really matter because the people who are out playing right now, I think there are people actually playing Survivor right now as we speak. They haven't seen the season, so.
Right. So maybe next time.
Can you imagine? Right now, they might be at the auction. Like, literally somewhere in the world, there could be the auction going on.
Probst is voting. Open up the uncovered note. You are now voted out of the game. Go directly to Ponderosa. Do not pass go. Give me your $200.
That would be hilarious.
So just to list what they got, Jen got a big fruity drink. Sierra got some food. Apparently that wasn't even worth mentioning what it was. Rodney got a steak.
Wait, who?
Yeah, right.
I don't
Undescript food for the undescript woman. Jeff, since everyone who wanted food has food, it's time for the advantage. But first, the notes from the loved ones. And Sharon points out here, again, I don't like all this collusion that happens inside of this auction. She points out that the lowest bid, everyone else after that's able to buy it. So Sierra just bids $20, and so then Jeff says, "All right, anyone can now buy it for $20."
I don't understand why.
Sierra outplayed Jeff.
After she called that out, and she was like, "Somebody's good $20 because in Survivor history, he always gives it to somebody at that same price point." And so she goes, "Okay, I'll put 20," and he's like, "Okay, everybody else for $20." Why didn't he at that point say, "Nope, that's it"? Let us go.
That's what I wanted him to do. That's what I wanted him to do so badly.
Probst has a script to stick to, so it'll probably be a change for next season because anytime Probst gets outplayed, he gets upset. I swear he was watching at home and he's like, well, I know what I'm gonna do. Actually, no, because he's out right now doing Survivor auction.
To some degree, they want everyone to get those notes from Holmes because of how emotional it is and how good television it makes. So I think they want them to get those notes.
I think you could bring them back in later that they didn't get them. You can win them at like the reward challenge or the next reward challenge or something.
Yeah, which we kind of see a glimpse of that later on.
Yeah.
All right, so Carolyn suggests that her, Dan, and Mike all go up and and then they'll all have $480 left to bid on the advantage. So they all agree, but you could tell on Mike's face that he's a schemy little bastard.
And
Mike's
way
like,
too obvious.
You go first.
And it becomes obvious that Dan, right at the last moment, right when Jeff's about to say, "Hey, you want yours, Mike?" He turns and walks away. What a slime ball episode intro! What an episode of Survivor!
Right? Yeah.
When they started playing the intro, I started freaking out. I was like, "What? There's the intro! I forgot we didn't watch it yet."
Yeah, exactly. I was like, "Oh man, all that before the intro." Yeah.
So then, MC, were you then still upset that it wasn't the long intro? Or were you so wowed by what just happened? You were like, I want to get back to the game.
I'll allow
Get
it.
back to
I'll
the
allow
game.
it.
So then Dan realizes that Mike is not balding, and Carolyn's like, no, I'm just giving mine back then.
So,
I don't agree with this, but we did not get to the point where Jeff got to actually speak on it. Because then Mike just gets up and is like, oh, I couldn't do it anyways. I couldn't really be like that. Oh, here's my 20.
yeah, do you think he was about to let her sell it
I
back?
certainly hope not. If you can get refunds in this auction, that's bullshit.
That changes the entire point of, like, Mike being a skeevy bastard made it entertaining for me to watch. And I was like, oh, this is going to be great. And then if Caroline was just like, oh, no, I'll just sell mine back then. Mike, now we all hate you. I'd have been like, oh. So maybe he can check on the next, idol too, and tell you if it's real right now. Just pull all of them out of your pocket, like make a bunch of fake ones, see if you can pull one past Jeff.
Yeah. I don't agree you should ever be allowed to have a refund in the auction. I think once the item is purchased, it's a final sell. It's kind of like last season where they came back with the flint. Oh, we got the flint now. Can we have the reward?
Yeah.
Here's the problem with Mike doing this. Yes, he went back and he did the right thing, but he's still slimeball, and it's obvious.
Yeah.
It's like you've already goofed up. You might as well just kept your idol at that point. Because guess what?
He didn't go back and do the right thing. He went back to try to save face. I think because in his mind, whether Jeff would have allowed it or not, I think he was like, "Oh shit,
Yeah.
Caroline's going to sell it back."
This.
Yeah,
Basically, yeah. So Mike ends up giving in the $20. Everyone gets their note, and then the advantage, they have to pull rocks, and Dan wins.
so Mike did all this
Yeah.
for nothing.
Yeah. So Dan mentions that Mike broke his heart and that he's lost all his trust. So we go back to camp now. Everyone is still at the auction where the time has changed and we're back. Mike, we're now following Will. He's come back to camp, and with much celebration, there's a note waiting for him. Ooh. So we think, oh, is he getting the advantage? What's he going to get?
Or he's got an idol clue. He's got an idol clue.
Yeah. So it's a map. It's a fucking map, and it's like drawn out. And when he gets there, there's a stake in there. It's like this is like, where you can just go.
What's the point of a map if there's a stakes right there?
It should have just been like, here's the thing that you're looking for, as opposed to walking down the beach to follow this map.
So he opens this box, and it's this huge jars of beef jerky, dried fruit, and electrolyte powder. Basically, the fucking holy grail of Survivor right here. Like, all the protein, everything you would need to survive.
No, they're not starving anymore.
Yeah, but you got to think they're hungry.
There's no barbecue sauce in there after.
You got to think this is a huge thing, right? For one person to have this. So he has the option to share it with everyone to keep for himself, and he decides he's going to share it with everyone. And the moment he said that, I turned to Crystal and I'm like, well, I know for a fact they're going to say that he got something other than what he actually showed them. They're not going to trust him. Like, this whole thing was a ploy by the... This is such an easy plot point for the producers. Like, if he doesn't share it, he's likely to get caught going off and eating it. If he does share it, he's not going to be trusted and assume that he didn't actually give them everything. This
is the second big thing that I think that the producers have done right this episode. One, we have, and we haven't really seen it yet, but the advantage is something different than the usual advantage that you bought inside the auction. Second, we have this vote out with food. Like the producers are on point this episode because it gets even better soon.
So anyways, I think everyone finally comes back. He decides to share everyone. Mike tells everyone the only reason that he didn't buy a letter from home is that he knows Rodney is leading Tyler, Will, and Carol to vote him out. And he calls Rodney a flipper. And Rodney's like, who'd I flip on? You still here. I ain't flip on nobody. I ain't never flipped my life. I don't even know how to flip.
I keep it real.
Yeah. I ain't never lied about you at all.
I'm the realest guy out here.
And Sarah's like, Mike's just exhausted and paranoid. You know, this is the worst possible time. We have our letters from home, and you're making us all sad.
Yeah, Sierra thinks Mike is just crazy. Who? Wait, I forgot. Who am I talking about? Sierra? Right, her. Okay.
All right, so Rodney goes to Dan to get his vote. According to Rodney, real men tip-top toes together? What?
I don't think you wrote that right.
So either. Tip-top toes together. Let's just go with that. Real men, you've learned it here, guys. Real men tip-top toes together. And battle it out in the street. I do remember him saying they battled out in the street. Tip top toes.
Were you trying to say toe to toe?
Rod-
Go toe to toe?
No.
I'd like to say this is an
top toes.
excellent play by Rodney. Rodney is showing emotional depth to Dan, and it's very important that Rodney needs to like. He's been in the background, so like Rodney went from bad guy to where? What is he doing? We don't even know. And that now he's like, I'm just Rodney.
He's a confusing man. Like,
Yeah.
imagine being friends with him in like the real world. Like, it'd be a weird experience hanging out with that guy.
What do you mean? He's the realest guy we have on Survivor.
He's the guy that you want on your side in a bar fight, though, because I don't think he's gonna.
yeah.
I don't think he's gonna think twice about breaking some bottle over some dude's head. Like,
So as I'm watching Dan and Rodney, my first thought is, there is so much time left in this episode. What's going to happen?
yeah,
Right.
Like we've already done reward. Like, are they gonna have a second reward? I honestly thought there was gonna be a second reward challenge.
Second breakfast. So Dan now walks off, and we get to see what his advantage is. Do you want to talk about that, MC? I'm sure you're excited.
It's an extra vote.
Like-
it's tribal.
So my first thing, I had to listen to this 3 times because my first thought was, all it says is it's an extra vote, or it's a vote. It counts as a vote, right? So I was like, could you use it in the final 2? But it does say in addition to your an extra vote, so it's not like you have to have voted once. Because that was my first thought was, can you use it to vote for yourself to win the whole game?
So, but the thing is, I still think possibly. I have the note here that says, "Can you use it as a jury member?"
No, you can't because
Why?
it says extra vote for you.
He already. So if you're on the jury because you've gotten voted out of the game, can you use it to make somebody win $1 million? Can you use it to have your vote?
Does it still exist beyond the point that you've voted out of the game?
It doesn't say. It just says the extra vote will be played in the future after Jeff says, "I'll go tally the votes."
I actually wrote it.
And Jeff does say, "I'll go tally the votes during Final Tribal."
He does. That was the first thing that
So,
came to mind is, could you manipulate this? Like, if Dan gets voted out, if he hasn't used this thing yet, can he be like, well, shit, I'll just use it as a jury member and make the guy I want to win?
Yeah, I didn't consider that. I was considering, but I mean, even all that aside, it doesn't say that there's a tribal you can't, like, in the old ones, like you'd get the
Up to Final Four
right,
or
right. It
whatever.
doesn't say that. This thing's crazy. It's crazy.
Oh, you know what? Because holy
Because
crap.
normally, like, it gets to the final 3 or whatever, and that basically only one person votes because the other votes don't matter.
But this
It's like,
time they
you cancel
would
you out,
matter.
you cancel you
They
out, so
would
you vote.
matter.
But now it will matter.
Because if you were the final 3, let's say Dan's the final 3, and he doesn't, and it goes down to a final 2. I'm assuming, and he doesn't win immunity. The person who did win doesn't just get to choose anymore because it would just be a tie.
Right. Like,
You'd automatically go to a tiebreaker.
I don't know. No, not
Find
necessarily.
out.
Because you can get the other guy to vote with you. Well, no, wait, because that guy doesn't have immunity. Yeah.
I have a bad feeling this stupid extra vote is going to be played. It's going to never be played. I feel like it's going to go home with Dan, and it's not allowed at Final Tribal.
No, I think it's
It's going to have his little piece of parchment up on the mantle.
I think it's going to get played at a time that it's not really going to work. I mean, I'd love to see it work when they're really confused and like splitting the votes or something like that, and he uses it to actually win. Not that I want to see Dan do good things, because I'm not a big fan of Dan, but I want to see it used in the right way.
Yeah.
It's at this point, Dan has to prove that he is smart after all.
Right.
Like if he shares the knowledge of this clue with somebody else, maybe we'll get some good at Survivor. But right now, I have a feeling it's just going to be like a dead, stupid extra vote.
However, though,
Maybe this is what he'll be remembered for.
and then
Maybe this is
Idiot
what
didn't
they'll
play
be.
the coolest item ever put in the game, and he ruins it.
an advantage in the game normally to me signifies an advantage in the next immunity challenge, or sometimes they split it up that you have an advantage in the next immunity challenge, and the advantage to the game is like the special idol that. Oh wait, how did that one work? Tony found it still, right? It was a clue to the
You can
special
play it
idol.
after the votes were read.
But it was a clue to the special idol, right? It wasn't actually here's the idol. It was here's a clue to a special idol.
yeah.
So, and that's cool because it's actually an immunity. This double vote, it might not help you at all. Depending on what position you're in,
Right.
it might not be helpful for you.
But it could be really fucking cool.
It could be. Could be.
Yeah. 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 It's really going to depend on how he plays it, basically. But yeah. So back in the game here, Mike thinks there's more than what Will gave the tribe, which is so predictable.
Mike says 100%. He is confident that is not it. 100% was the term he used.
So then Sharon and Jen go tell everyone that there was more food. Definitely more food. Everyone knows there's more food. Where are we going to find? And that's the other thing, too. They're not even grateful that the man gave them what they gave them. They want to go out and seek out the other food and eat it. Like, we need to go find it. We need to go find it.
I just couldn't believe Jen. That doesn't seem to be in her character, the way she literally just went out there and was like, damn it, Will has more food. And everybody's like, wait, he does? And she's like, yeah, damn straight he does. And it's like, where did you come from with this?
So Will hears this, and he goes with Rodney, and he's like, here it is. Let's bring back the box. And what do you have to say to this? And I'm like, oh, man, Will, stand up for yourself, showing that you're not
Yeah,
alive.
I was like, oh, yeah, Will, you tell him.
And then...
Yeah. He might take it a little bit too far.
Not by just a little bit. The man goes off the deep end, and he should not have acted the way he did.
Will went from the funny comedy relief, making sandwiches from the ocean, to hated by the entire internet in one fell swoop. Like, everybody hates Will, and it's scary.
Yeah. Really? Like, I haven't actually read like what other people are saying, but
I mean, I'm not even a fan of Will at this point. The things he said were
oh yeah. There was no like
it went way beyond the game.
It went from you fucking get him, Will. Nobody should treat you like that. To, whoa.
He said that Shireen doesn't have anyone love her and doesn't have a soul, and it's like. And has no family, and I'm like, holy.
No one has ever cared for you ever, like. And then she's like, all these personal attacks are not called for. Like, these aren't personal. These are just truth.
Yeah.
I know. It's scary. And there's
She took it like a champ, though. She took it like a champ. Like, to his face, she was like...
Well, that's the thing. There was lots of discussion about what was edited out. And apparently Shireen was also... she was offensive back, but not to the extent that Will was. Like she called him a few names as well.
Where did you see this? Is it like on the behind the scenes, or this?
I believe speculation? It was not only internet speculation. There was talk from the actual survivors. Like I don't know if it was Will. I think it was like Will's girlfriend, wife that he makes YouTube videos with that said that apparently. So
because she was there.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, we obviously we have no idea what exactly was said, but
regardless, what Will said is irrepressible. That's the Where's Sierra? I don't know where she is. Is she here? I don't know.
Sierra's gonna win the whole thing. We're gonna be like, who won this season?
Season 30, and the winner was Jeff Probst.
So Mike is the only one who steps in to defend Sharon during all this.
And then Will was like, just go off with your little bitch Mike, Sharon.
I know. It's like he just like scoops her up, and then it's amazing. They go to like a private base. I loved this like little scene of like Mike, Shireen, and Jen, these people that you never thought you would like really like, but they're like in like this private base talking about and how much it hurt them. And Jen says she wants to stay in Survivor now to basically destroy the evil people.
I'm here to fight evil.
Exactly.
Like and thus the next superhero was born.
She doesn't even leave the island when it's all over. Like 6 seasons from now, they come back and she's like an island woman.
She's hiding She's hiding in Tony's spy shack.
So we go to the immunity challenge next, and first thing is Will says, Jeff, I didn't get my letter because I had to leave immediately. If I sit out of this challenge, can I get my letter from my loved ones? And Jeff is like, I don't have a problem with that. You can sit out, but first we have to ask every single member of the game if they're okay with it. As long as everyone is okay with it, you can sit out and you can have your letter from home. And Jeff says, anyone that's not okay with it, raise your hand. And of course, we all see it coming. There comes Sharon.
And it's so epic, like this, like the dead silence, and just.
So, and the thing is, for somebody like Will to ask this, for one, after doing what he did and going so off the deep end, and think he even deserves to get this letter from his loved one after
he knows how bad he sounded.
But because when you get to tribal, he's still like defending himself.
I know, but on top of that, he's not giving anything up. he knows there's no chance that he's ever winning an immunity challenge. Like, that's
Yeah,
really all that comes down
exactly,
to.
exactly.
He's like, I'll just sit down and actually get something for not winning as opposed to getting something for not winning.
Yeah, yeah, completely. The one thing Sharon says I just don't really agree with. She's like, that's not how the game works. The game is made by the contestants, really. They could technically never even compete in any of these challenges. They don't have to, unless there's some contract we're not privy to. I mean, it's kind of like Amazing Race. Technically, they could all start the race and then sightsee for 4 hours if they really wanted to, and then start racing. You know what I mean? The contestants make the game. So, I mean, and to say this is not how the game works, Jeff said this is how the game works. He can sit out, so it does work like that. But she had that right, and I don't disagree with it. So the challenge was to use these tong like sticks to carry. To me, they remind me of a divining rod for finding water. Anyways, these sticks to carry a ball across a seesaw-esque balance beams and place 6 balls on a stand that looks like the Hanukkah thing.
That's it. You nailed it.
The Hanukkah thing.
Nailed it.
Not a dreidel.
A menorah.
That's the word. God,
Uncultured.
Somebody. Yeah.
Is there anything exciting to note that happens during this challenge other than the winner?
No,
Not really.
so.
I didn't think that this was a very good challenge at all, and they made it seem a lot harder than I anticipated it being, so I guess it was harder than it looked.
Well, they just said there's a learning curve to it, but then when Mike got the learning curve down, it was just like, oh, he dropped it, oh, I dropped it, oh, this is how you do it. Boop, 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 boop. Like,
yeah.
that's all there was to it.
It didn't look hard. It was like you just hold some ball with some sticks. And
Yeah, I
I
just think it was the way that the tongs have no like grip on them and the way you have to hold them to keep this ball. But once he got it down and understood how to hold it, it was done.
The problem is, how do you go fast? Like, how do you go faster with them? I think there's only one speed once you've gone the hang of it.
Yeah.
But it's like the only thing you can count on is people dropping the balls. But if they've gone good at it, they're not going to drop them, and everybody moves at the same speed the entire time. It doesn't really matter. Once one person has it, it just coasts the victory because you can't go faster than them. You can't like run over the balance beam.
I did find it amazing how many people dropped the ball at the end. Like they finished the challenge, they were about to like put it up to the end, and boom, falls down. And it's like, how did you just mess that up? Like you just carried it across balance beams. And
I'd like to give shout out to Shireen for getting 1 ball on her menorah.
good work, Shireen. Good work. Maybe she was just emotionally distraught. How many did Will get? Do we even see?
I don't remember.
I don't think Will got any.
Yeah. That's. I'm glad that they let him compete in this one.
Carolyn got 1 as well. All right, so Mike wins, as we say, and then he does a little dance. He says to the camera, looks right into the camera, and says, "When we win immunity, we do a happy dance." And then he does something that apparently was a happy dance. So Tyler, Sierra, Dan, Rodney, Carolyn, and Will are all talking about how they're 6 strong and they should split the votes, but they can't win. I don't remember exactly why I wrote that, or why we wrote that.
They did talk about because they were worried about somebody moving, and then they were like, no, we are 6 strong, there's no way we can lose, because if we stay 6 strong, like there's no way we can lose, is how like Mama C ended that. Carolyn.
Yeah.
So the big idea is that Will wants to vote out Jen. He's like, I want to vote out Shireen, but Jen is the bigger threat. And that's a point where I'm like, okay, as much as I hate Will right now, at least he has brains and he's not blinded by anger.
Yeah. Like Mike is asking Jen and Sharon who they want to vote out, and they choose Carolyn.
Yeah, because Mike says earlier when they're in their little powwow, he says, what exactly did he say? Me, Sharon, and Jen only have each other. So now he's fallen on a new alliance that he needs to try to rally around, because for one, everybody hates him because he's a sneaky snake from the beginning. So he's lucky he won this immunity challenge, but he knows if he doesn't build something,
yeah,
he's
just
done after
go
this
out next
week.
time.
Yeah,
I mean, at least he still has that hidden immunity idol too that no one knows about, right? No one other than him knows he has that, right?
Nobody ever made a comment about the fact that why wouldn't Joe use that idol if he thought it was.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, we snuck one through. He didn't use his idol. Yes, because they all think Joe.
Yeah, no one made a
has it.
comment that it was fake. I mean, right?
The-
'Cause,
the-
I mean,
the-
they knew it was fake.
They knew that one was fake, but Mike's the one who made everybody think that he saw.
Right. Well, that's the other thing too. No one's talking about Dan's advantage. Like, they didn't see the advantage at the immunity, so they had to assume that it's some other advantage. what is it?
Yeah, that's
Let's discuss it. No one's
Yeah.
doing that, and if they're doing it, they're not showing it to us at least.
I mean, and it's important because Dan in this tribal coming up, it appears he's going to be the middle vote, and the only other thing that's going to shake it up is like Dan's a middle vote, he has an extra vote, and Carolyn is remembering that she has an idol. Like she starts talking about it. I'm like, oh man, this might be the best tribal ever.
Might be.
So right now we have 2 idols and the advantage hanging out there with a small number of people.
Yeah.
And Mike starts going off on Dan, like he gives him the run through of everything. He's like, "You are with us. Who have you been loyal to? Who has been loyal to you?
Yeah.
And
Who built this camp? Us.
Everybody's yelling at Dan, and eventually Dan's like, "Okay, calm down. My destiny is my destiny. Everybody, shut up." And I feel for Dan there for like one of the first times this season. I'm like, holy God, I would be so done with people if all they've been doing like Mike. Like the way he talks and like yells at you for like probably looks like 15 minutes straight, dude. I'd want to go take a nap before tribal. I wouldn't want to hear anything else out of people.
I just almost felt like Dan was getting a little bit diva-ish, though, personally. I don't know. Maybe that was just my...
He was excited to be the swing vote.
Yeah, he was. He was like, oh... He acted like he was overwhelmed by the number of people that was coming towards him, but he was almost like he was still really enjoying the attention of everyone at the same time. So, I don't know. I just don't like Dan. So they go to tribal. And Will brings up that Sharon questioned whether or not he shared all his food. And Sharon says that Will said 2 things about food incident and then started a personal attack about me not having a family, I'm a loser, more people in the game like me than more people in the game like him than in her entire life. I have no soul. He'll pray for her. And Will says, that's true. That's all true. That's not a personal attack. That's all true. It's true.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? How do you not think that's a personal? Oh my God.
Yeah. He's one of those people who, when he gets called out on being wrong, it makes him even more mad that he'll prove he's right, even when he knows he's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I get upset when somebody says I'm wrong about something that I know I'm right about, but that's the thing that sets me off like a little bit, you know. But it's not like that, especially when in a situation where it's like, oh, this is not a personal attack, and he starts going off the deep end. Like he gets lost, he gets blinded by the anger, and he's just, he went from funny sandwich man to scary hate man.
Scary hate man.
Yeah.
So Sharon, brings up basically that she was verbally abused by her biological father, and Will says, "I didn't verbally abuse you." And Sharon says that she's been a big victim of domestic violence, and he makes light of it. And that's pretty much it.
Well, but Will does make the comment, which is crazy. Like, this shows how off the deep end he's going. Is he's like, look at this, Jeff. See, she's making herself to be the victim yet again. And it was just like, whoa. He's just... I'm surprised he didn't get his ass beat by some people just for like principle's sake at that point.
Well, I think it's against the rules. You get kicked out of the game if you physically touch someone.
Some of the cast members or the crew members coming out from the woodworks. Like,
we get the next episode. It's like back in the day where they're like they come back and somebody's got bandages and we don't know why.
He's like, I fell in the woods, guys. I swear. Like.
All right, so someone mentions they have 9 individuals fighting for themselves. There was a voice in the wind.
In fact, okay, the unknown voice named Sierra says that they are worlds apart, and I'm like, title drop. Maybe that's why she's important this season. She said the title of the show.
Yeah, she named the whole thing.
Unfortunately, I think at some point in the previous times, Jeff actually said worlds apart, but...
Well, in all the editing that we've seen, he did.
Yeah, right?
Oh.
Yep, they stole it right from Sierra.
Yep.
Dan mentions that it's tough, that he may need to vote a blue collar out. Mike, when talking about needing immunity, that it's been decided that he's a threat. Carolyn, Rodney, Will, Tyler are going. They're all way together.
He calls out that core alliance, and Rodney flips out on this. He's like, calm down.
Rodney goes insane. Like
he starts yelling, "Calm down!" He goes Super Saiyan temporarily and just starts, and then he's just down.
Yeah. He's like, "You're a maniac," and see, I have a pretty much quote here.
He yells, "Calm down!"
Yeah. So that we couldn't even read our love letters because you were too busy being angry. And when we're just trying to open our letters, and you're calling out alliances. And it says, so now, you are on the chopping block. And it's like, wait, no, I'm wearing immunity. I'm wearing the immunity necklace right now. I am not on any chopping block. He's like, I want to keep it cool, but I guess what comes out when you have to face the facts. So yeah, Rodney was out of control. He was just like lost.
After this, there was a great quote, and it's simple. The numbers. It's 6 versus 3, and that's when I believe it was Shireen who says, "No, it's 4 plus 2 versus 3."
She's been crunching the numbers, MC. She's been crunching them.
And I mean that is a good way of trying to make it real that you're on the bottom. No, it's 4 people plus you two that are against us, not 6.
Yeah.
It's 7
Unfortunately,
minus 1 plus 2 plus 1.
How many times have we ever seen this argument though that you're on the bottom of the alliance work? Because it always ends up that people are too stupid to realize that they are on the bottom.
Yeah, I think they always think if they can just make it one step farther, they'll be able to flip it. They'll be able to flip it, and
it's like, no, your chance to flip it is now. These are people who want to work with you.
right.
You have 3 people who are looking for another Final 4, or you can be part of this possible Final 6.
It always happens every season, and like no one ever learns from that. But
But so we get to a vote, right?
Yep.
And it's going to be exciting, right? Extra vote, idol from Carolyn. What's going to happen? Nothing.
Nothing.
Right. Just a normal old vote. So we got Carolyn, Will, Tyler, Sharon, and Mike all vote for Jen. Sierra, Rodney, and Dan all vote for Sharon, and Jen votes for Carolyn.
Why? I'm so lost on what happened between all of the finagling and the number crunching and all that stuff. How the hell did Sharon and Mike end up voting for Jen?
I think that they just decided. I mean, that's the thing. They obviously did not show us something. Something was not seen. That from Sharon and Mike being with Jen to suddenly voting Jen out. Yeah, we missed something.
Yeah,
we weren't given all the
They
information.
just gave up and they said, "All right, Jen, you kind of wanted to go home.
Because
It's time for Ponderosa
Who else
party
were they going to
time."
vote for, though? Who should Sharon and Mike really voted for?
Carolyn, and then because that was why he was trying to convince Dan to vote for Carolyn, right?
Yeah,
They were
but
trying
that
the
would
whole
have just
time.
been it would have been a 3-way split then. That's the thing. They would have had to vote again, right? Because it would have been Carolyn, Will, Tyler, Jen, Sarah, Rodney, Mike, or Sarah, Rodney, Dan, Sharon,
No,
Jen, Sharon, Mike, Carolyn.
Jen, Sharon, Mike, Dan, because they were trying to convince Dan, and had Mike done his job of convincing Dan to vote for Carolyn, which was that whole 20-minute spiel that he had with him.
Yeah,
There goes Carolyn. That was
right.
that was the plan.
I mean, they never convinced Dan. That's obvious by the fact that Dan voted for Sharon.
I mean, very true. How funny would it have been if Dan did vote for Carolyn? And
right. Yeah. Now, if that had happened, and I guess maybe they realized that Dan wasn't going to vote with them, so they had to make a decision. Obviously, Jen couldn't be a part of that decision because she couldn't vote for herself.
so now they've cut their own alliance out, though.
Yeah. Now it's just Sharon and Mike. Like, I don't know what their plan is.
Yeah, Mike to use an idol next time, maybe, and that saves him one more round.
Let's look at the real happiness here. Ponderosa is Jen, Haley, and Joe. It's party time.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
They're going to be having a grand old time.
So we go to the next time on, and Dan is telling Mike that he's a threat, and Tyler takes Dan's bag and finds his extra vote and tells Carolyn, "I'm so fucking sick and tired of every season people are going through other people's bags. Shouldn't there be a rule about this at this point?"
I would think so.
No,
So everything's just fucking open then. Like, it pisses me off. Like, how do you keep your bag away from someone else? You can't. Do you just say, okay, I'm not going on any reward challenges anymore because my shit won't be safe at camp? Or before I go on a reward challenge, I need to go back to camp to take my shit with me because there is no fucking chivalry or
well, okay.
human.
If you have an idol or an extra vote in this case, hide it, bury
The
it,
thing is in a goddamn box so goddamn big. How the fuck's he supposed to hide it?
bury it.
Okay,
dig a hole. How long do you got on this island, Guude? You have time to dig a small hole, you know?
Right. So that's what you're expected to bury anything that you don't want other people to look at. That's bullshit.
Yep.
I mean, Russell Hance did steal somebody's socks and burn them in the fire on the very first night.
Like, that's bullshit. You shouldn't be taking other people's personal items.
Just take
and
all
throw
of their
them in the fire.
clothes.
I mean,
We don't like you.
Tyler had burned Dan's things here at this point.
Yeah, can you
Is that
imagine?
acceptable?
Yeah, we don't like you. Let's just throw everything you own in the fire, so you're now stuck here naked,
Right.
and that's your life.
I mean, is that allowed?
I
What's allowed?
can't see why it wouldn't be. Maybe there's a certain number of times you're allowed to go through somebody's bag. The rules, you can go through everybody's bag twice up until day 32, and then once more until day 39. No, I agree with you. The fact that you can't have anything that is safe is kind of crap, but at the same time,
It's a game.
it's a game, and it's so well known at this point that MC's right.
But what is the
Don't bury
limit?
that shit.
I mean, let's honestly let's examine this. What is the limit? So you were saying it's acceptable to burn the other people's personal things. Is it acceptable to burn their hidden immunity idol? Can you take their hidden immunity idol and burn it? Huh?
Oh, interesting.
I think that is where the line would be drawn. I think there's probably something inside the rules that says you can't, just like you can't take somebody's idol, you can't destroy somebody's idol.
But what about, okay, let's say notes to the hidden immunity idol? Is that open play? Can you destroy those?
Maybe
That's been stolen before, remember?
Maybe there's official game items is like the rule. It talks about official game items. Like you can burn somebody's sock.
That hidden immunity idol note they had that gave the clue, so it got stolen from the person. They ran off in the woods with it.
That is true. They did steal it and run off with it. So could they just steal?
Like what is the fucking rules? I just want to know what the rules are.
Can you just steal Dan's advantage? Did it say you can't have that?
Like this is not a hidden immunity idol. This is just an advantage. So can I now burn this?
So and also, what would happen then? So if you find a hidden immunity idol, it's yours. It says people can't take this from you. What if I just go, oh, look, I found it. My hiding place is going to be right where the map told me to come find this at. So they just put it back like nothing's wrong. Will somebody else come along later? Do they not realize that they're not allowed to use it because technically it's mine and that's where I'm hiding it at? Just because you found it doesn't mean it's yours.
Yeah, this it's not very clear. Because that's a good point too. Like how do you know? Because you also have people that go around just randomly searching places.
Right.
Like, oh, look, here's a hole in the ground. Oh, look, I got bit by a snake. What if you just hid your idol somewhere else
and they happen to find it?
Finds it?
Or are you supposed to, like, do you have to, like, write your name on it or something?
Right. It's just not very clear as far as what is and is not allowed when it comes to personal property. So, anyways, that's all. I
agree. I want to see some people do some tricky shit with the idol. That would be awesome. Because that would be, how ultimate badass would that be to make somebody think they found an idol that's actually mine that they're not allowed to use? So it's a legit hidden immunity idol, but they're not allowed to play it because it's technically not theirs, but they think they have this safety net.
I've always wanted people to put their fake idol in the original idol hiding spot so that someone would find a fake idol and think it was real.
And include the rules document that comes with it.
Like everything. Everything.
And the one that I was talking about with the first one that I saw, which was like the stick figure guy, like that's what
hit
they
it
did.
back.
Yep, it was back in the original spot.
Oh, I thought maybe just I couldn't remember that season, so I see. Okay, all right then. Well, I guess it's been done.
Yeah, but not enough. I don't think enough because I think there's a lot of leeway you could go with it. Because especially if there's clues out there, yeah, hell yeah, make a fake one and make people think that they just found the real one. Then they're not going to be suspecting of you. And if they were, and then they went out and found it, they're going to be like, well, hey, I guess you're just not smart enough to go find the idol. And I'm going to be like, I'm smarter than you think.
I think we're in a weird place right now with this season, though. Like, we have a lot of things in play and a lot of crazy characters.
That is true.
But how is this all going to conclude? It's in a place right now where I feel like there's going to be flipping happening very soon. And I feel like it's been foreshadowed that it's going to be Rodney. He's going to make this big move he's been talking about soon, and it's going to really make things crazy, and it might be just what buys Rodney the win.
Now, MC, do you really think there's going to be flipping or blindsiding? I need somebody to give me a definition of those two, please.
I think there's going to be blindsiding. I think that we're going to see people. I don't think we're going to see Mike out, to be honest with you, next time. I think that Mike is going to somehow scrape by one more time.
He's going to, if he doesn't,
but it's going to be somebody
from
the 4+2.
He's got his idol. Like,
yeah. If he goes out next time, he really is an idiot with the idol.
Well, let's put it this way. I think next time we're going to see something happen where it's somebody from the 4+2, but it's going to be somebody from the 4 being voted out, so it's going to be the 3+2 alliance versus the 2.
Because they think they have some wiggle room now because the other people only have 2.
I think there's going to be some fun happening. I think that we won't see Dan's extra vote. If he's smart, he's going to hold on to it another time.
Until he's on the jury.
Well, everyone in the fucking game knows it exists, so what does it matter? Like,
oh yeah, I forgot next
episode. Pisses me off the most is I was so looking forward to seeing this thing played in the game in a way that we don't anticipate, but it gets ruined by the fact that everyone in the game knows it exists.
Yeah.
Darn it, Tyler! Stupid tall man that the big man. That was his name.
Well,
Yeah.
like Tony's hidden immunity idol. It was sad to see that it never got to get played because people didn't vote for him up until when they could. Granted, he used that thing in a cool way by making up another story about it after the time frame was done. But I would have been awesome to see them be like, you know, Tony, you've been voted out, and he'd be like, oh yeah, zing, like, and pull the idol up. I think that would have been, that's cool to see when it works.
Right. Right.
But,
well,
guess
we'll see what happens this Wednesday.
Yeah, apparently, I think I know what's going to happen. They're going to go through people's shit. Guude's going to get mad, and they're going to start burning the idols.
I'm really mad about it, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, guys.
All right. See you guys.
Watching.